Hi everyone. We made it to chapter 10 of My Father's Dragon by Ruth Stiles Gannett and illustrated by Ruth Gannett. Chapter 10 is the last chapter in the book, and we're going to find out what happens when Elmer finds the dragon. When my father was crossing the back of the 15th crocodile with 2 more lollipops to go, the noise of the monkeys suddenly stopped, and he could hear a much bigger noise getting louder every second. And then he could hear 7 furious tigers and 1 raging rhinoceros and 2 seething lions and 1 ranting gorilla, along with countless screeching monkeys, led by 2 extremely irate wild boars, and all of them yelling, "It's a trick! It's a trick! There's an invasion, and it must be after our dragon! Stop it! Stop it!" The whole crowd of animals stampeded down to the riverbank. As my father was fixing the 17th lollipop for the last crocodile, he heard a wild boar scream, "Look! It came this way! It's over there now, see? The crocodile's made a bridge for it!" And just as my father leapt onto the other bank of the river, one of the wild boars jumped onto the back of the first crocodile. My father didn't have a moment to spare. The animals were coming after him. By now the dragon realized that my father was coming to rescue him. He ran out of the bushes and jumped up and down, yelling, "Here I am! I'm right here! Can you see me? Hurry! The boar is coming over, and the crocodiles too! Oh, they're all coming over! Please hurry! Hurry!" The noise was simply terrific. Oh, and here's a picture. It's the baby dragon. He's so excited to see Elmer coming to rescue him. Oh, and there's that big, thick rope around his neck. That is going to be very hard to get off. My father ran up to the dragon and took out his very sharp jackknife. "Steady, old boy, steady. We'll make it. Just stand still," he told the dragon as he began to saw through the big rope. By this time, both boars, all 7 tigers, the 2 lions, the rhinoceros, and the gorilla, along with the countless screeching monkeys, were all on their way across the crocodiles, and there was still a lot of rope left to cut through. "Oh, hurry," the dragon kept saying, and my father told him again to stand still. "Listen, if I don't think I can make it," said my father, "we'll just fly over to the other side of the river and I can finish cutting the rope there." Oh, and here's a picture. This is Elmer cutting the rope. You can see he's got his knife in his hand. And the dragon is trying so hard to hold still, but he must be so excited. Suddenly, the screaming grew louder and madder, and my father thought the animals must have crossed the river. He looked around and saw something which surprised and delighted him. That means it made him very happy. Partly because he had finished his lollipop, and partly because, as I told you before, crocodiles are very moody and not the least bit dependable and are always looking for something to eat, the first crocodile had turned away from the riverbank and started swimming down the middle of the river. The second crocodile hadn't finished his lollipop yet, and it was still tied to the tail of the first crocodile. So he followed right after the first, still sucking his lollipop. All the rest did the same thing, one right after the other, until they were all swimming away in a line. The 2 wild boars, the 7 tigers, the rhinoceros, the 2 lions, the gorilla, along with the countless screeching monkeys, were all riding down the middle of the river on a train of crocodiles, sucking pink lollipops, and all yelling and screaming, and getting their feet quite wet. And here's a picture. You can see all of those silly crocodiles, each one of them sucking on a lollipop tied to a tail of the crocodile in front of it, swimming away down the river. And the animals are on their backs, yelling. My father and the dragon laughed themselves weak because it was such a silly sight. As soon as they had recovered, my father finished cutting the rope, and the dragon raced around in circles and tried to turn a somersault. He was the most excited baby dragon that ever lived. My father was in a hurry to fly away, and when the dragon finally calmed down enough, my father climbed up onto his back. "All aboard," said the dragon. "Where shall we go?" "We'll spend the night on the beach, and tomorrow we'll start on the long journey home. So, it's off to the shores of Tangerina," shouted my father, as the dragon soared above the dark jungle and the muddy river, and all the animals bellowing at them, and all the crocodiles licking pink lollipops and grinning wide grins. After all, what did the crocodiles care about a way to cross the river? They lived in the river. And what a fine feast they were carrying on their backs. As my father and the dragon passed over the ocean rocks, they heard a tiny, excited voice scream back at them. "Bumcack! Bumcack! We dreed our naggin! Whoops! We need our dragon." That must be the little mouse from the beginning of the book. But my father and the dragon knew that nothing in the world would ever make them go back to Wild Island. And here is the last picture in the book, because that is the end. It's Elmer and the dragon flying away, and look at the smile on the baby dragon's face. Elmer did what he set out to do. He rescued the baby dragon. He used all the materials in his knapsack to trick the animals on his way, and they both made it away safely. I really liked that story, and I hope you did too. There are actually more books about Elmer and the baby dragon, and maybe I'll read one of those next. Thanks for listening.